Welcome back to the 19th hole. It is a tradition like no other that we get to talk about the Masters this week. This is the first time you're seeing all three faces on the screen at the same time. To my left is my co-host, who has been my co-host for the majority of this year so far, Mike. And then on my right is our newcomer, but not a newcomer, if you guys know.
Calling me old. Thanks a lot.
No, I'm saying you're a familiar face. There's a difference. Keith Flemming on my right. But guys, we get to talk about Augusta National this week. We get to talk about the Masters, which are all some of our favorite things to talk about, especially for me. But one of my other favorite things to talk about is the IBT Golf family. The IBT Golf family is your free to join chance to gain access to chatting with our analysts, our memorabilia giveaways, as well as getting the opportunity to get our full betting cards. Our free membership gains you access to our chats, memorabilia giveaways, and contests. And our upgraded membership for $3.99 per month or $36 for the year gets you full access to our football family, racing family, entertainment family, as well as access to our weekly betting model and our full weekly betting cards. You can join that for free at in-betweenmedia.com/chat or with the link in the episode description. Guys, it's time to talk about what happened in the golf world last week. So after this drop, we will get to talking about some professional golf. We're making you guys wait a little bit longer for Augusta. JJ Spaun was nothing but steady at the Valero Texas Open and took home the win. Guys, that was a weird golf tournament.
It was. I think I heard that 7 players on Sunday touched the lead at some point. Like totally wide open down the stretch.
Yeah, I mean, what? Some of those guys were playing 30 holes of golf in a day.
Yeah.
I mean, that'll happen. But JJ Spaun reigned victorious. Perhaps my favorite stat about JJ Spawn's win is he led the field in no major strokes gained categories throughout the event. He came in second in approach, but otherwise was 16th off the tee in putting, 32nd around the greens. But what did we say on the show, Keith? It is a second shot golf course. If you hit good approach shots in, you give yourself a chance, especially when it's playing that wet and that soft, which we both admittedly were not expecting going into that event.
Yeah, I mean, I've never claimed to be a meteorologist, so apologies to all for getting that wrong, but we now know for sure JJ Spaun is a mutter. It's good to know. Put that in the notebook for in the future.
Rain in the forecast, JJ Spaun +2.
Bingo. And number one on my model and number one in my heart. And then the other thing is it was a weird event, mainly because he got lucky. Like by him finishing when he did, because they, and I get it. They had to rush it out. So many guys had so many holes to play. Right. Nobody was sticking around till Monday when they were headed to Augusta to finish that golf tournament. So it was a huge advantage. I mean, did you guys see how long the 18th ended up playing?
Oh my God.
Like the last hour, over 700 yards is what they were saying.
Have you ever seen that feature where they'll say like the effective length? I've never seen that before. And so they were showing it.
Once I've seen it.
And so they're showing the wind direction being like 20 miles an hour straight into their face on a 609-yard par 5. And the effective length was 721.
I did driver, maybe 7 wood. It was insane. Because at first I heard 9 birdies all day on it. I'm going, wait a minute, that can't be right. This is a par 5. And then they said that, it's playing over 700 yards. I go, well, even for those guys, that makes sense. So
yeah, I mean, they were laying up with 3-woods, which was, you just don't see that. And the thing that's kind of crazy about that hole, and we'll probably talk about it, there's not really a prime layup area. Bunkers down the right, creek down the left. Normally that hole is not asking those guys to try to hit a shot to 100 yards out. So these guys are laying it back at like 180 to stay out of trouble. And so you couldn't really expect anyone to make birdie on that hole. And I think that added to some of the, I'd say, lack of drama outside of MacIntyre, doing some crooked things on 18. Lack of drama on 18 because Putnam and MacIntyre both needing birdie to get into a playoff weren't even close.
I'm so sick and tired of watching people hit fairway finders that are nowhere near the fairway.
What was Putnam doing? I could when he lined up and they said it on the broadcast and they were like, "Oh, it looks like he's trying to hit a bullet fade." I'm like, the hole is playing 721 yards. You get up there and you try to hit the ball as far as you possibly can. So what happens? He hits at about 260 yards in the rough and then hits another wood up to like 180 in the rough. It just, I don't get it.
I don't get the logic of wind is blowing in our face. So let's hit the spinniest shot I can hit that is going to grab as much of that wind as possible. But all in all, maybe a hot take, I kind of want to see a 700-yard par 5 on the PGA Tour.
Get out of here.
It was so fun to watch guys have to hit driver wood long iron hybrid into a green and have to make the putt to make birdie. I don't want to see it every event. Don't get me wrong.
I'm just saying, I thought we learned this with Tiger proofing golf courses. You just make it easier for people like Tiger to win. So if you have a 710-yard par 5, it just makes people that are already getting a huge advantage because they hit it so far an even bigger advantage.
All right, here's the solution. Every 20 yards after 280 yards, we just put a strip of cart path through the fairway to give players the bounce opportunities.
Just put a trampoline there if we're going to do that. Come on.
I'm down. Again, I don't want to see it all the time, but once a year, maybe. But
okay.
Shout out to JJ Spaun for the win. But as we know, that was not the only golf tournament going on this past weekend. And we got to see our upcoming venue a little bit with the Augusta National Women's Amateur. Maria Jose Marin getting the win. I thought it was going to be Astros Tally again. It was not. And I know, Mike, you have a comment in the show sheet here.
It's wonderful. Like every 10 years, you're watching a golf tournament at Augusta. That 12 jumps up and throws up quads and quintuples just out of nowhere. This is a 155-yard diabolical golf hole. We've seen Spieth do it. We've seen Molinari, Koepka do it. And now Astros Tally gets to add her name to the list of people that have made 7 or worse on this par 3. Ridiculous up and down for a 7, by the way.
Yes. Yeah, it was. I love watching Augusta. Don't get me wrong, but there's something special about watching the amateur women play it because it's how Keith, we talked about this last week, watching women's golf and especially the women's amateurs, like 90% of amateur golfers should be modeling their game after these women because they're still faster than most of the dudes out there who are trying to hit it 300 yards and can't break 120 every weekend. Their golf swings are so pure. They're so exactly what you would, if you drew a picturesque golf swing, that's what half these girls have. And it gives us a glimpse into the talent that's out there in another way that we don't see as often, just because you don't see amateurs playing Augusta National often. We don't get to see when members are playing. We don't get to see member guests. We don't get to see anything at Augusta. So it's always funny when I see this event come up every year and there's one scratch handicap on Twitter who always swears he'd go 15 under and win. And it's just flat out not true.
Yeah. Anybody that I learned a long time ago, if somebody brags about how good they are at golf, they're really not that good at golf. The guys you got to worry about are the ones that, yeah, I'm okay. pretty good stick, because next thing that they're going to ask you is, you want to go what, like, I don't know, 20 and 20, make things interesting.
Yep.
So don't be afraid of people that talk a lot of smack about how good their golf game is. Be worried about those that are, you have to kind of beat it out of them.
That's why I just tell people I can hit it far. I'm not promising you it's going to go straight, but it's going somewhere. But, Mike, you and I always talk about getting to learn more about some of the journeymen that are out there. And this week, I'm bringing you one of the journey women that are out there. Layups get you paid. I saw a lot of discourse on Twitter about people getting mad about someone with a 4-shot lead laying up. But Lauren Coughlin did it and then made birdie anyway and won by 5 instead of winning by 4 in an event where 4 people finished under par. Now, Shadow Creek Golf Course is one of it's a bucket list course for me. I absolutely love this course. When I'm playing on the sim, like playing sim rounds with my buddies, this is always one of my votes of what we should play. It is a challenging golf course, clearly. But again, there's just something special about someone who has been grinding and grinding and grinding and being able to win, especially now that the LPGA is starting to get more legitimate purses. You know, this was a $600,000 win for Lauren Coughlin, somebody who was on the women's tours for 8 years before recording their first professional win. To get a win like this, especially, you know, seeing that Nelly Corda was one of the runner-ups, Lydia Ko finished in 11th, it's got to feel pretty good to be Lauren Coughlin right now.
Yeah, well, shout out University of Virginia alumni. Lauren Coughlin, she's a little younger than me. I don't think we're there at the same time. Yeah, grinder. Spent a bunch of time, just like clawing our way around the ladies' tours until getting her first win, I think, in 2024. But like, she was an All-American. She's like, this is just how tough it is to win on any tour. She's a good player. But actually, you can go and listen to No Laying Up. They had her on. She called in, I think, the evening after she won. And you can listen to her talk, and just, she's actually been seeing Bob Rotella a lot lately. And this whole idea of, in Rotella's, like, one of his big mental tenets is how quickly can you get back to neutral? The whole idea is to kind of put your mental game in neutral for the round. And you know there's going to be highs and lows, but how quickly can you get back to neutral? And so she was talking about how, you know, she's making the turn and she sees the lead she has and she starts thinking about winning. And, you know, in his world, it's okay to think about those things. It's okay to get ahead. It's only human. But how quickly she was able to get back and grounded and think about the shot ahead of her. And that really helped her steady things through the back nine. I usually have a problem with drastic game plan changes in the heat of battle. Like, hey, your game plan was driver all week on this hole, and now we're going to switch to a 3-wood or a 2-iron or something, and then things go awry. And so, yeah, there's a little bit of like, oh, really? Like, you just going to all of a sudden start playing safe down 18. But if she hits that ball in the water, like, we're gonna roast her.
Yep.
And so all she did was secure the win. Like you said, layups count. It's all points. They'll count the same. And so she really stuck it to everybody, hitting it tight and making 4 there anyways.
Yeah, it's awesome to see, especially, you know, I always love the fun little stories that you can find out of events like this. Her husband is her full-time caddy. John Pond, former University of Virginia football player. He quit his job in 2024 to join her on the LPGA Tour full-time. Is it a coincidence that she didn't start winning until her husband got on the bag? Maybe, maybe not. If my wife was on the bag, I'd probably quit personally.
Shots fired.
She knows it. My wife would never be my caddy. She doesn't want to be in a golf course that long. When I go golfing, I drop her off at the bar and then I catch up with her afterwards.
She's not listening to this anyways.
She will be. Love you, honey. But guys, I think it's time to finally give the people what they've all been waiting for. It's Masters Week. It's what we've been waiting for. I made you guys talk about last week's tournaments, but we got to talk about Augusta National and the Masters. So let's get these caddy notes ready, and I'll see you on the other side of this drop. Augusta National, one of the cathedrals of the golf world. If you're expecting a full breakdown of Augusta National in this episode, we're going to give you a small one, but you should check out our Masters preview show that Mike and I did a couple weeks ago on the channel here, which make sure to subscribe if you haven't, so you don't miss that channel and any of the videos that we put out. But we did a full breakdown over there, but let's still give the people a smaller breakdown of Augusta National. Keith, Mike, what do you guys find to be successful at Augusta National? What are we looking for this week out of these players? Keith, I'll start with you.
I mean, most predictive tournament that there is. Horses for courses. I mean, it's so vital for guys to have a good track record here. The last first-time winner, Fuzzy Zeller, 1979. That has been a minute. You know, at the same time, you don't want to have too much success because we've only had 3 back-to-back winners in the history of the event as well. But you really do want to see past results. It's very important for somebody to be elite tee to green heading into it. Basically the last, 3 months, last 36 rounds, something like that. But it's so important for somebody to be elite tee to green. This is the ultimate second shot golf course. Approach play is just so vital. We're at now, 16 years, top 30 in the official world golf ranking is going to win this. That's a, significant number when literally long shots are basically throwing away money. I would rather put money on prop plays for guys that top 5, top 10, et cetera, go head to head. I do think it's very important to still be able to hit the ball a long way here. It does look like it's going to be relatively dry and firm. If that's the case, you could, make different arguments. You could say that brings the shorter knockers into play because they're going to, be able to push it out there to where all those par 5s are reachable, even with the lengthening. You could also say it's just going to separate even more of the guys that have that extra gear because, they're going to have even shorter numbers into the greens. And then ultimately, you've got to be good around and on the greens on firm, fast conditions with tight lies around the greens, because at the end of the day, that's the whole ball game. I mean, everybody says it's a second shot course. In a lot of ways it is, but you look at every guy that's had a lot of success here, they're very good around the greens on tight lie, fast golf courses with runners. They just are, because you have to save bogeys. There's only 4 or 5 holes, 6 holes at the most every year that play under par. And it's basically the par 5s, the short par 4, and then randomly there'll be one other hole. So really that's all that I really looked at this week. And we kind of know those guys. It's a pretty easy model. It's good form. You got to be good around the greens on, those kind of golf courses. I'd love it if you have, multiple good finishes at this venue. And I'd also like to see that you eat up par 5s because, again, very few holes play under par, and the par 5s are 4 of them.
Yep. Yeah, and I love what you brought up with the predictiveness of the course, and that creates an interesting world with this event, right? Where you can look at a variety of different stats, and we can find previous winners that correlate with a variety of these stats. I believe it was Ron Close put out a tweet this week. I think it's the last 14 winners had 18 strokes gained or more in over their last 4 professional starts. I found that over the last 8 years, each winner has had a T15 in one or both of the 2 prior majors, has a previous major top 5, had a top 5 finish on the season prior to the Masters, had a previous T25 or better at the Masters, were top 25 in strokes gained tee to green, and top 50 in strokes gained approach and around the green. Each of the last 8 winners has had that. Mike, I know you brought up on our preview show, Sergio Garcia was the last guy to win here without having won a PGA Tour event in the same season.
Yeah, it's I feel like we're getting deeper on the Masters trends take, where it's like, hey, 15 of the last 16 have done this. So Ron put out a tweet today. I will repost it from the Reading the Green account. It had probably 20 of these stats, and they're all just like brilliant, and they go back like 30 years. And so the cross section of players that we're picking from is extremely small. The problem is if you want to make money this week, Keith, almost to your point, you got to find the other markets to win in, because you are almost undoubtedly trying to pick someone who's 20-1 or better. Like that's who's going to win this event. And so it's hard to make a ton of money. We're not hitting long shots. We're going to talk about them, but that's not really who's going to win. The winner's staring us in the face. And I wanted to make one other point, which this whole idea of like, why do elite players win here? And I know that the course it's this diabolical setup, and it takes so much experience to do well, but it's this like vicious cycle, because the only way to get a lot of experience at Augusta is to repeatedly qualify for it, which means you have to be a very good player with sustained success to get to even that. What do we say? It's like minimum 3 appearances at Augusta before you really start to see that 10-year payoff. To get 3 appearances at Augusta, you're someone who's staying in the top 50, or you're winning a tournament on the PGA Tour every year or the previous season,
or have won a different major,
or you played well in another major, or you made the Tour Championship. Like the path to the Masters is extremely narrow, and it's reserved for the best golfers. And so to do that, to get your 3, 4, 5 years of experience, basically means you are elite. And so it shouldn't surprise us that the guys coming in are already cream of the crop, which of them are playing the best. And so we're going to have fun. We're going to talk about it. We're going to try to split hairs on the, certainly the top of the board, but the winner, we'll all say at the end of the day, well, that was obvious.
Yes, it is very much as you said, Keith, a horses for the courses type event. We're going to see, we know the guys who have legitimate shots at winning. As we said, as you said, Mike, we're going to talk about some of the other guys as well. We got to, even if we're talking about these guys, throwing the outright numbers out there, we still may like these guys for top 5s, 10s, 20s, 30s markets, made cut markets. I'm so sad that the made cut market has gotten nerfed over the years here. You can no longer just throw 22 guys in a parlay and somehow still make 40-1 odds on it, but I digress. But with this event, obviously there's a ton that goes into it. We each have different stats that we looked at. We build our models our own ways. We do our research in our own ways. So let's get to talking about some of these guys that we've identified as having legitimate shots here. So let's get these clubs twirling and head on over to talk about the plays of the week. Starting off this week, we're going to talk about Jon Rahm. It's fitting that we're starting talking about Jon Rahm because I almost put him in there. Keith wanted to put him in here, but Mike, you typed it first. So you get to lead.
I was so nervous doing that. I was like, oh, do you guys really want to talk about, do you want to talk about the 9-1, 10-1, 11-1 guys? But, I stuck with it because I said at the end of the day, he's on the short list of guys that's probably going to be in the mix come Sunday. And I get it. We're also focused on the strokes gain data coming into the Masters, and we're looking for, hey, like you said, have you gained 18 strokes in your previous 4 events? And are you at this echelon tee to green? And I know it's hard with LIV because we're measuring against a different set of competitors than we're used to. But Jon Rahm fits the mold. And I think the thing, so first of all, you can't deny the finishes. You've made your money this year, 5 straight top 5s on LIV, including a win in Hong Kong. But I think the thing that I really like about Rahm is that he's got deep enough Augusta history that even if we have a sense that he's playing well on LIV, which he's playing the best golf on LIV he's played, we know what he's done at Augusta. He obviously has the win here. I have him 6th in course history at Augusta. And then a couple of other things in his stat profile that are going to fit really well here. So first of all, I have him 2nd in carry distance. We know he can hit the ball a long way. I do wonder a little bit, though, Keith, you just said it, like with the course playing so firm and fast, lower ball flight hitters are going to be in play this week because they're going to get some runouts on these holes. But I love that Jon hits a high ball, and that's going to really help coming into firm greens. And he's backing that up third in my model, scrambling off of short grass surfaces. Mm-hmm. And so I think he's got the right tools to contend again here 3 years later. The only thing that sticks out to me is that his par 5 scoring numbers are not great in general. Not great in general. And I agree, Keith, that's another thing that I've weighted pretty heavily in my model is just sheer par 5 scoring ability, because that's where you make up ground at Augusta. When you flip this to just look at his par 5 scoring at Augusta, I got him in the top third of the field. So I think what he's doing right now and what he's doing wrong is neutralized by moving to Augusta, where he's had a tremendous success. So I like Jon Rahm. And again, if the range of your outcomes are someone in the 4-1 to 20-1, take it right in the middle. Jon Rahm 11-1 seems pretty good.
Keith, what was it about Rahm's profile that made you want to go with him in this favorites category?
I mean, let's be honest. There's 4 guys that, in my opinion, are more talented than everyone else in the world right now. Just all things being equal. Scheffler, Rory, Rahm, and Bryson. This course does not set up well for Bryson. I know he's played well the last 2 years, but I think until he gives up on his aggressive style, he's not going to win here. He just won't. It's
but
crazy.
The par 67.
Yeah, exactly. How'd that work out for him? Rahm is by far playing the best golf of the other 3. By far. It's not even close.
Yeah, great point. Yeah.
Here's his last between tours. Here's his last 11 starts. 2nd, 5th, win, 2nd, 9th, 13th, 2nd, 5th.
And more importantly, they're playing 4-round events. And I don't care what anybody says. That was one of my biggest complaints with Live Golf, is because I felt like the guys that went over there were making it even harder to win the hardest golf tournaments in the world, because you get used to it. 4 rounds is totally different than 3. It just is. So I like that fact of it. Again, you mentioned his history, 4 top 10s, 5 top 15s here. And what I really feel good about is he's putted terribly at Augusta the last 2 years. Rahm is a great putter. He just is, especially normally on very firm, fast greens. And I don't expect him to have a 3rd consecutive Masters where he putts poorly. And I think that a lot of his issues over the last 2 years since he left after winning the Masters is that it took adjustment. He's been miserable. There's no doubt about that. And I think that he's basically come to realize the only thing that is going to make him feel better is to start winning major championships again. And this is a golf course that is so tailor suited for him. It's ridiculous, because nobody's better, in my opinion, around the greens than this guy on this kind of course. We saw some of the hole outs he had at the Ryder Cup. Nobody is better on these kind of courses around the greens, and he hits it further than just about anyone. And when he gets it going with the irons, he's a better iron player than just about anyone. So if Scheffler was in better form, I would be more worried about Scheffler. If Rory was in better form, I'd be more worried about Rory. But Rahm is the best of the big dogs, and you're getting him, in my opinion, as a discount because there's still a live tax, which I will happily accept. You can't tell me if he was on the PGA Tour having the same success, he would be right there at Scheffler's odds.
He might be above Scotty odds if he had if 4 straight or 5 straight top 5 finishes, including a win and 3 runner-up finishes, was on the PGA Tour. I think we'd be talking about Rahm at plus 300.
But I was thinking about this, and I should have put it in my notes. Let's just translate those finishing positions to 120 or 140 person field. So let's just call that 5 straight top 12s. Mm-hmm. And a win. If any player in the field was coming in with 5 straight top 12s and a win, we would be gushing over that player, which we're doing. But he's just not getting the attention because we still haven't wrapped our heads around the fact that he's a really good player now putting up the results. So I'm glad we're all in on this.
Yep, we are all in agreement here. I don't know if I'll have to do a lot of convincing for this next guy. I may have to, but if you remember those stats I brought up earlier, of the previous major finishes, previous master finishes, top 25 off the tee, top 50 on approach and around the green. when you factor in every stat that I compiled, there are two guys in the field who meet the criteria to win this year's major, this year's green jacket, based off of the last 8 years. And that's Rory McIlroy and Matt Fitzpatrick. Fitzpatrick is coming off 26-1 currently over at DraftKings. And, you know, there's certainly things that Matt Fitzpatrick lacks in compared to this field, but maybe it's going to be a moot point. You know, like we've talked about with the firmer, faster conditions, is him being 71st in the field in carry distance going to hamper him? Maybe not. It hasn't seemed to hold him back so far this year. Great incoming form with a second place finish, you know, unfortunate fourth round for him at the Players, and then a win to follow that one up. But, you know, coming in very strong form. I have him 5th in the field in approach, top 15 around the green, and overall approach proximity from 200 plus. We've also got him sitting at 13th in 3-putt avoidance. You know, we've talked about the putters, but really, you know, you don't have to gain a ton of strokes with the putter at Augusta. You just can't lose them. And one of the quickest ways to lose them is with 3 putts. And to be a top 15 3-putt avoider in a field full of the best players in the planet, 26-1, sign me up.
My only concern is his putting. That's it. Like, that is my one concern, but I agree with you with the way he's hitting his irons. He could win this tournament without putting great. We've seen Scotty Scheffler win this tournament without putting great. Like, we've seen guys do that. So it's fair, but that is like my one concern is I just don't know if on these kind of greens he can make putts when he needs to. And, you know, I think the reason why so far in his career his one, you know, major win makes sense, right? It's in the event that is by far the easiest to win without making putts, the U.S. Open, when you put on a ball striking performance like he did.
Well, and that was on a golf course that he was supremely familiar with as well. I do wonder if Fitz has got, I mean, we think he does, but like if he really has like big time major equity in him in the rest of his career here. And I don't know. Like, I don't know if he's going to be a 2-time major winner. I do think he is the guy that he has slipped through every single master trends eliminator that we've seen so far. So like everything points to Fitz being here. I'm a little bummed of all the people that, you know, that bet him even 2 weeks ago, 35, 40-1. And so now I feel like the price is getting to a point where it's like, I could go elsewhere in this range, but I do think Fitz is the guy in the center here. I would have been concerned if Augusta was playing super soft. He's hitting his driver so low right now. Mm-hmm. And I just don't know if that plays on a cold, wet Augusta, but I do think he'll have to worry about it. Yeah. I think he'll get away with it this week. So I like Fitz too. He was getting a little short, I think, in the betting market.
Very, very fair. And that's the fun of this, right? Like, we can agree while disagreeing, and we're all friendly about it. It's like we're family. Join the IBT golf family. Anyways, since Mike stole Jon Rahm from both Keith and I, technically just Keith, I could have put Rahm in first. I just decided to go with Fitzy. We get to let Keith here talk about two guys in this mid-price tier. Although depending on the book that you are at, Bobby MacIntyre would qualify, because in some books he is as high as 30-1, but at DraftKings you can still get him at 38-1. So Keith, tell us a little bit about Bobby Mac this week.
I think that there was no bigger winner than Robert MacIntyre last week, because we know that it has been a long time since somebody won the week before Augusta. And by him not winning, he got another runner-up. He's already got a win this season. We've seen how lefties thrive at Augusta. Like, really good left-handed players do so well here. He's all of a sudden an elite putter, which I did not have that like in my playbook. Like, he's starting to make putts as well as anybody. And when you're talking about what Augusta has really become over the last few years, and it's why I think you're seeing like the best or second best player in the world winning this tournament so much more frequently than you were before, is this, it's hard to go deep here anymore. Like, it's really hard. Mm-hmm. So what does that mean? You need to not make a lot of bogeys. He's one of the best on tour at avoiding bogeys. And you need to be able to really scramble on certain type of venues. And again, MacIntyre on these like difficult, firm golf courses is so good at and around the green. So I think that he's got a great chance. And he's another guy that I think it only helps him with the playing firm off the tee, because it's going to allow something that maybe might not be a strength for him. He's not going to lose enough distance to where it's going to be a big issue for him. I just think, again, we look at guys that are playing very well. There's almost nobody playing better than Robert MacIntyre right now. And a lot of people are saying we're due for a weird Masters winner. I think a lot of people would be surprised if Robert MacIntyre won the Masters. I don't think it would surprise any of the three of us.
You've been waiting for, you made a really good point, and this gets ahead a little bit on my end, but been waiting for those lefties to come back. And I think the problem is we haven't had really good left-handed players since Bubba won his last Masters in 2014. But you got to remember, between Weir, Phil, and Bubba, that was 6 Masters wins in like 10 years, 11 years. Like, because you had some really, really good players. And so I am kind of wondering if the new crop of elite lefties if we're going to get that the next couple of years here. Maybe it's this year. You're right about MacIntyre.
McGavin gets there.
Yeah. Yeah. Not this year. I do wonder. I mean, MacIntyre is gaining like 4 strokes around on the greens his last 8 events. And like it's actually carried through some pretty poor ball striking performances as well. So my biggest concern would be, is that his new baseline, or has he been on a run that under enough pressure and enough difficulty just doesn't last?
Yeah.
So that's the only thing. It's just, we know putting's volatile, but I'm looking back in his last 25 starts though. And you're right though. He's gaining 3 to 6 strokes around putting. It's like, that's probably more than just to say a flash. So I think it's a good take.
Yeah, especially when you consider that his iron performance last week at Valero was the best performance he's had since his runner-up finish at the BMW last year.
It hasn't been good. He's putted great.
Yeah. I mean, I saw it in your notes. You don't find it at Augusta. You have to have it going into Augusta. And right now it feels like Bobby MacIntyre has it. So it's a great call out there. We're going to stick with another guy for you here, Keith, another guy who I easily could have written down here. Patrick Reed, 43-1 over at DraftKings. We're giving Liv a lot of love, but he's not on Liv anymore. He's technically on the DP World Tour. Well, he's going to be on the PGA Tour in about 5 minutes. But Patrick Reed, 43-1. Again, a guy I very easily could have talked about here. What is it about Reed that was standing out to you this week?
Man, how much time you got? First of all, this guy, you want to talk about a winner that everybody could hate on. Patrick Reed could be that guy. We've had all these very popular wins, right? And people forget Rahm crowd was very behind because we didn't know he was about to leave for Liv. But then obviously for both the Scheffler, crowd very behind. And then obviously Rory last year, Reed could change that up, but this feels like the Liv tax again. Like, I know he's technically not on Liv, but call it the DP World Tour tax and fine. Like, this guy's 43-1. Have you seen what Patrick Reed has done at this venue? Like, not only did he win it, obviously in 2018, but just since 2021, 5 top 12s here. Like, nobody plays.
I think he's the 4th best player in the field on Augusta since 2019, which is after he won.
Right.
Like, nobody's seeing this coming. He's got 2 wins on DP World Tour this year.
That was the next part. He's playing great, so obviously that's good. If you look over the last 3 years, he's gaining strokes around the greens, on approach, and putting in this venue. Again, we talked about how good this field is, and he's doing that. And then, oh, by the way, the reason you really should be scared is it's playing firm. We made that, reference many times. That means that it's going to play a little shorter, but even more importantly, it's going to be really tough to scramble. And there is nobody in the world better getting up and down on difficult golf courses than that dude. And then, oh, by the way, what has always been his one weakness? Approach play. He's having by far the best iron year of his career, heading into a venue that he owns. And I think he has got a legit, it's like he would be like the 4th or 5th person I would pick if you're just telling me to list in order who I think is most likely to win the major, encompassing everything we talked about. Reed would be in the top 5, and you're getting him 43-1, and he's $9K on DraftKings. Play him everywhere in cash, people.
Yeah, you made the argument for me. That's basically everything I was going to say. I mean, Mike, the stat about him being top 4 in course history after his win.
Yeah. I mean, it's being done without any fanfare. Like, we don't even realize. We said he got 4 top 12s since 2021. Like, we're not even realizing it. How good will the narrative be if Patrick Reed is legitimately in the mix against Rory or, even Bryce? Like, there are so many people that he could be an excellent villain for. I do worry a little bit about the crowd, either being a little too vocally against him. I know the Augusta will keep it hush hush, but I worry he get a little
he
messy.
Played school down there, so I think if any crowd would not get too bad against him, it would be this.
It would be there.
Plus, we've historically hated Patrick Reed, but now that he's left Live, does he have some
no, we're gonna hate him
back? I mean, yeah.
Even if it's a foreigner, because that's the one thing I could see is the way we've seen the USA chants recently is you could get Reed.
If he's the only
the anti-hero versus whoever the foreigner is at the top.
He was the top performing American last year.
Yeah, if he is if he's in the mix and he's the only American down the stretch, yeah, I think the crowd's going to back him. You guys forget, he holed out on 17 for Eagle last year to get himself it was oh my God, not much has to happen for Reed to be in a playoff against Rory, and
that would have been
ended up not being the case.
I know what a story that would have been, though.
That would have been wild. But I love Patrick Reed as well this week. We've already talked about a little bit about the lefties. I know, Mike, this is probably the view ahead you were talking about on some of these lefties coming up here. It's also a little bit about Akshay Bhatia.
Yeah, but Bhatia's had a great year. His odds were, it's come down quite a bit. We got 51 on DraftKings right now. Disclosure, he was 65 2 days ago. So I think the money is starting to move a little bit on Akshay. I do think he's due to play really well at Augusta, being one of the elite left-handers in the game. I do think I'm about 2 to 3 years too early on this take. This will be Akshay's 3rd time at Augusta. He obviously was a drive, chip, and putt champion. So I think it's in the cards that he'll become the first DVC or drive DCP champion plus Masters champion, 30 years later. He's gonna get dragged down a little bit for flaming out in New Delhi at the Indian Open last week, just coming out and shooting plus break. No,
I think he got a long flight with some good sleep. That's how
it just for whatever reason. No, I'm not saying. I'm saying the market's going to drag him down.
I got you.
Yeah, the public is hey, we're off. No. I think it has nothing. All it's doing is just going to give me some leverage, hopefully in the DraftKings game in DFS. And then potentially, the fact that he was 65 over the weekend here was a great number to get him at. But just quickly on some stats here. 14th overall in my model in strokes gained tee to green, 11th in par 5 scoring average, 3rd in strokes gained approach. He is a crafty guy out there, and he has done a lot of hard work putting and chipping. I mean, he basically he gained 10 strokes on the greens at the API.
So he's another guy that's all of a sudden starting to actually show signs of being a putter.
Yeah. So we can get into the whole debate about how he gets it.
Whether he's doing it right.
He's not anchoring. I'm dying on that hill. He's not anchoring.
I think Akshay is going to be in position to have a really good Masters. He's basically come into this tournament, into Augusta, in really good form. Each of his 2 previous appearances, he finished 35th 2 years ago, 42nd last year. Didn't really improve on the positioning, but the way he's playing the golf course, improving on approach, figuring the greens out, I think he's definitely live, a great mid-range play here. And totally forget what he was doing halfway across the world. I think he'll be in great position this week.
Total cosign.
Can I give you a potential way too deep in the weeds statistic here about Akshay Bhatia, courtesy of Pat Mayo? In the 4 tournaments prior to the Masters, Akshay has earned $5.4 million. Yes, $5.4 million. He shot a +4 at the 2025 Masters. Rory McIlroy going into the 2025 Masters in his last 4 tournaments had earned $5.4 million and shot a +4 at the Masters the year prior. I'm just saying, there's plenty of trends we can follow.
Yeah, like I guess like it. Rory was playing great in 2025.
I need a full-time job where this is all that I do, because kudos to Pat Mayo for having that much time. That's all I'm going to say.
I love it. I absolutely love it. And I actually do need to point out, I made a typo on this graphic here. DraftKings, you can get him at 57-1, and actually over on FanDuel, you can get him at 60-1 still.
Nice.
There you go.
So still
very, very inexpensive on DK too. In the 7K range, great play on DraftKings as well for cash games.
Absolutely. And now I'm going to throw a wrench into things. This guy pops on like none of the stat profiles that we've looked at. It. You look at any of these major breakdowns that we've been talking about where you can go back 30 years and find correlation between all these things. This is purely a vibes play. Elite first name haver Jake Knapp, 70-1 on FanDuel. I'm going to make the argument. I know nobody was asking me to, but I'm going to do it. You were all asking me to. It's kind of why we do this show. Third in the field on approach, over 200 yards. One of the best drivers of the golf ball on the planet. 7th in this field in carry distance. Over the last 24 rounds, leads the field in bogey avoidance. 3rd in the field over the last 24 rounds on bent grass greens in terms of 3-putt avoidance. That's enough for me to be interested. The dude hits it far. His iron play has been solid enough. He's top half of the field in basically every single statistic that I pulled this week, with the one coming the closest being his overall short game. But he's got a fully green profile in my rabbit hole model over here on BetSperts. And that's enough for me to be interested, especially at 70-1. We're talking about a guy who this year, T11, T5, 8th, 6th, miscut at the Players with the best putting performance of his career randomly, T6 at Houston. Recent form has been strong enough. He's played here before. We typically see an improvement from with players from their first Masters to their second Masters appearance. As Mike pointed out, you typically see the biggest jump going from year 2 to year 3. But there's enough going right with his profile that gives me plenty of confidence. And when you look at his performance in 2024 at the Masters, you know, he didn't putt well. He didn't chip well. He actually played poorly with the driver compared to the field that week as well. And you just look at his game in 2024, it was red in over 50% of the tournaments with the putter. He's gained strokes with the putter in every single tournament he's played this year.
He's second in like strokes gained putting this season or something crazy.
Yeah, it's been an absolute weapon for him.
Yeah, I mean, go ahead.
Go ahead, Keith. Well, okay. He's got the same problem I think that Bob MacIntyre has. I can't tell how much of his game is being held up right now by being on an incredible run with the flat stick. But maybe, I mean, he's playing probably 20% better than his baseline from last year in both short game categories. So I got him 9th in my overall model. So
I was going to say, what model would he not be top 10 with the way he's playing across the board? And I just like that he did so well at the Houston Open, which no course is Augusta National. I get that. But they really have tried to build Memorial Park both on and around the greens to be a real warm-up for these guys for Augusta National with runoff, a lot of, you get a lot of tight lie pitches uphill to tough pin locations.
No crazy.
And he did really well on and around the greens that week. So I think that's a great sign for him. And I don't ever hold anybody's first Master start against him because, I mean, these guys are also golf fans. And I'm sure the first week there, the last thing you're thinking about, if you're not like some robot like Tiger Woods was, when he first started showing up to events, that of course you're going to like kind of get into all of it and, just be like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm here. And next thing you know, the week's over. And he at least made the cut. I mean, I know it wasn't a great tournament, but he made the cut, finished 55th. And I feel like he'll definitely do a lot better. And he has the talent and the game to where, I think, again, another guy in that 7K range on DK that it would not surprise me at all if he finished top 10.
Yeah, absolutely. And to answer your question, actually my model, even though he's green across the board, he actually is 15th. But hey, It's a strong top of the board. We'll put it that way. All right, going on over to the long shots here. Obviously, we're not going to spend a ton of time here. We do have something fun we want to throw in at the end of this episode here. So we're going to kind of speed through these a little bit. I'm going to start off with Nicolai Højgaard, 84-1 over on DraftKings. There's certainly parts of his game that aren't beautiful. I definitely would prefer him as more of a placement ladder play rather than a pure outright, but he's 9th in this field in strokes gained approach. He is 6th in this field in carry distance. He's 23rd in bogey avoidance, and he's above average in a majority of stats. Really the only stat kind of holding him back in the model, his short game overall, his strokes gained short game is 74th in the field. So can he have a week with the wedges that cooperates with him? And then his strokes gained total at Augusta is 57th in the field over his last 5 years. So, not the strongest history here, but I mean, guys, it's not been uncommon for us to see a guy struggle at Augusta, come in playing some of the best golf that they've played in their career and just go out and have a good finish. And if it's a year like I'm, anticipating where distance and ball striking is going to play even above, historical importance potentially, Højgaard's a guy at a discount that fits what we're kind of looking for. Any arguments?
Nope.
We'll take it.
Playing great this year. Yeah.
All right. Next up, another elite first name haver, although Keith gets to talk about him here. Tell us about Jacob Bridgeman this week.
Look, I know that, 1979, it's been a long time since the first time winner has won this event. But if you look at it, it's also been almost 15 years since anybody who did not play in the 2 weeks prior to the Masters has won this event. And that would knock out basically every really big name there is. All the live guys, Scheffler, Coughlin, just seriously, everybody pretty much would be gone. And I know that Gotterup's getting more attention because you would think with his distance and everything, his game more fits this venue. But I mean, Bridgman has been arguably the most consistent player on tour this season, 18th or better every start. I got to admit, he hits the ball further than I thought he did. 60 in driving distance. It's not elite distance, but it's also not somebody that's short. 7th in bogey avoidance, 3rd in birdie or better percentage, 1st in par 4 scoring, which that could be huge this week. Again, the par 5s are what is most important. But, oh, by the way, he's 21st on tour in par 5 scoring as well, 22nd on approach. But most importantly, dude is reminding me of Cam Smith with his flat stick. He is 1st in strokes gained putting. He's 1st in total putting. He's 1st in 3-putt avoidance. He's 2nd in average feet made per round of putts. This dude, no matter what metric you're looking at, can roll the rock. And at this venue, that could be huge, especially if it is firm, fast, it plays tougher. I think, again, Bridgman will be one of those guys that the harder it plays, the more likely it is he could win this event, especially if he has an elite week putting, which he does most weeks.
The best thing that Bridgman's got going for him is that he got the win earlier this year, as we're looking through all the trends.
Yep.
And we're saying, hey, the Masters winners have won on the calendar already. Best thing he did was he got that win. And I think the thing that impressed me the most was he did it after really crashing and burning on 18 at Pebble.
Yep.
And so he's got that resolve to just move past that and come back and perform even better. And so you think about what's needed in the pressure cooker that is Augusta. And if he's already got that little bit of dog in him, I think that's gonna really help him out.
Absolutely. Last up before we get to our fun segment here, Harris English.
I don't want to go too deep. Yeah, I was gonna say another actual dog. Harris has had a very, very consistent year. He has 7 out of 8 made cuts, 7 top 30s. Now, he hasn't really threatened the lead, and his stat profile is extremely average. He's not spiking anywhere. It's just extremely steady. And so now his Augusta history, he has 2, he made the cut the last 2 years, T22, T12, improving. And so I do think he can get around this golf course well. I'll be perfectly honest. 100-1 winner. We're not having that this week. But I do like Harris English plus money all the way down to top 30. So if you want to ladder someone like 10, 20, 30, I think Harris is a great play for it, as well as someone like Siwoo Kim, who really doesn't finish outside the top 40 at the Masters. I think he'd be a great money in some of the deeper placement markets, just is how consistent he's been this year.
8 straight majors, made the cut in that span, 5 top 25s, 2 runner-ups. Like, Sky is made for really difficult golf courses. And again, say the wind blows a little bit more, it just is playing crazy firm and fast. Like, he's another guy. The harder the tournament plays, I think the better chance he has to really contend.
Absolutely. And I think it's one of my favorite stats of the year that if you bet him top 30, you would have made money 7 out of 8 weeks. And if you bet him top 20, you would have never made money on Harris English. Just one of the many fun stats that we can find for Augusta this week. But guys, before we wrap up here, you know it, the people don't know it yet. We're going to do a little Masters draft. So we are going to draft 1 USA born player, 1 foreign player, 1 debutante, 1 amateur, and then once you fill up those other 4 categories, we can pick 2 more players who are anybody else in the field. Now, we have to determine the draft order, and I have a way to do it. You're not going to like it. You may like it. I don't know.
Is it not a random number generator?
It's not a random number generator. We're all going to make a guess, and then I'm going to fact check something real quick. In 2020, when Dustin Johnson won this event, how many total strokes gained did he have? We're all going to make a guess. I haven't looked this up yet. I'm going to type it in as soon as I say my answer out loud. I will go first, and I'm going to guess that he had 16.2 strokes gained total. Now I'll let you guys give me your answers while I look this up and hope that I can find it.
I'll go 19.
Is this Price is Right style?
Closest period. Even if you go.
Give me, I don't know, something silly like 25.
Perfect. You'll love to see it. All right. Let me Oh, hey, look. There it is. And the correct answer is, I have to do it this way. Hold on. 4.79 times 4, 19.16 total strokes gained.
The exact answer that Keith said. Interesting.
To be fair, it's not easily findable. I had to do the math myself on his total, his average event round strokes gained, and multiply that by 4 on the calculator here. So Keith, you get to start us off with the first pick. Mike, would you like to go second, or would you like to have the wraparound?
Wraparound, please. Easy
Perfect.
ansor.
All right.
So does it matter which of the 4 categories you pick?
It does not. As long as they meet one of those 4 criteria, you are good to go.
All right. I talked about him again, that I think he's the prohibitive favorite. I'll take Jon Rahm.
Very great start. I feel like I kind of just have to take Scotty at 2. I don't really want to do it, if I'm being honest with you, but I'm going to take Scotty Scheffler as my U.S. born player. All right, Mike, you get back-to-back picks here.
Oh, man. Fleetwood and Xander.
All right. I like it. Give me 1 second here. Tracking all of this. Let's see. I'm going to go with the debut player as my second pick here, and I'm going to take Chris Gotterup.
Yeah. I honestly thought about taking him my first pick, but good pick.
Thank you. All right, Keith, back-to-back picks here for you.
Again, I mentioned him on the show, so I am going to go Bridgeman.
And you are taking him as your debutant?
Debutant, yep.
Perfect. All right, and your second pick here.
Give me Bryson as my American.
Great pick. All right, I've got foreign and amateur. How do I want to go here? You know what? You're taking people that you mentioned on the show. I'll take a guy I mentioned on the show. I'll take Matt Fitzpatrick. All right, Mike, back to back for you. You need your debutante and your amateur.
Yeah. All right. Debutante will be a guy that I've been. Now I'll take Marco Pench.
I was like, you're gonna.
I love it. Attaboy.
I almost took RNP, but it's gonna be Marco Pench. And then for my top amateur, just because somebody has to say this name, FIFA Laupakti.
Is that the Argentinian dude?
No, this guy's from Thailand, I think.
Okay.
You're thinking of Matteo Puccini.
Yeah, I'm country bumpkin. I ain't trying to pronounce any of those names. So
I love it. Do I take Mason Howell? Do I go Pulcini? Do I go Ethan Fang? I'm going to go with I would have taken Michael Lasasso if he didn't go to Live. I'm going to take Ethan Fang. I'm going to risk it. I think Mason Howell's going to do better, but I'm going to take Ethan Fang.
Well, I'm going to take Mason Howell and the most hated man in golf, Patrick Reed.
He wasn't getting around the corner. It was not going to land in my lap.
Yep, he wasn't getting past me. He definitely was not getting past Keith. We should have all seen that one coming. Now, where do I want to go? Do I go upside? Do I go downside? I'm just going to take Ludwig.
Are we doing the 4 make the cut? How are we doing this? I meant to ask.
Yep. So we're going to do just total strokes under par. We're going to do it just
Once
like
if somebody misses a cut,
then they get whatever their missed cut score was, and they can no longer gain or lose you strokes.
Fair enough.
All right, Mike, you get 2 picks here to end your draft.
Cam Young, Hideki Matsuyama.
I cannot believe I forgot about Cam Young. That's on me. It's fine. According to what I've seen on the internet, he was spinning wedges off of greens, couldn't hit the fairway. It's fine, actually. I purposely faded.
No, the one that's going to eliminate Cam Young this week is, I think it was 27 of 28 winners did not miss the cut in their previous Masters. And Cam Young, after 2 good finishes,
is going to be good for Cam Young is 2024. Scheffler won the Players, went on to win the Masters. 2025, Rory won the Players, went on to win the Masters.
We're right.
This year's Players champ, Cam Young.
All right, my last pick here. Do I go for the experience? Do I want to feel something on this last pick? And I think I do. Give me Jordan Spieth to round out the squad. I got to feel.
Wasn't even on my board.
I need something to feel alive. Actually, 7th in my model this week.
Yeah. I mean, there actually is not there. He does not have excuses this week to have a poor showing. He's been playing much better golf at a place he has dominated. No excuses. He'll have an excuse.
All right, Keith, close us out here. Who is your final team member?
So this guy really let me down last week, but the fact that it's going to play firm and fast, and he's a Georgia Bulldog and a damn good one, I'm going to take Russell Henley. There
you go. Great drafts all around, gentlemen. Guys, if you're listening, let us know in the comments who you think is going to win of our teams. Let us know who you think is going to win the Masters. Draft your own team by yourself. You get the pick of everybody. You don't even have 2 other geniuses drafting against you. Have some fun with it. But as always, guys, thank you for tuning in this week. We are so excited for it to finally be Masters week. For Mike, for Keith, for In Between Media, and all of us over here at the 19th hole, we will see you all at our next tee time.